Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I've uploaded anything. Been busy, pretty busy, still busy, about to get busier. So let's have a look-see here of what we got going on. So this is our little chicken empire, and some coops. There's one coop, another coop, 3 coops, some hutches for special treatment or isolation, and then we have our support shed. It's where we do our egg washing, So we have our egg washing operation in here. It's pretty legit. Heated in the winter. City water. Yeah, so we do chicken eggs. Me and the girlfriend, the Sprout. And during the winter, it kind of sucks because you see how far the chicken coops are from the room where we actually process all the eggs. So when we have to bring food over to the coops and we have to bring water over to the coops, it gets a little dicey during the winter, a little annoying. I mean, I snow blow all this with the big tractor and everything, but still it's a lot of work, a lot of manual labor. We don't shy away from the struggle here, but at some point you got to kind of say, you know what, we got to make things better, and that's what we're doing here. We're on the path to improvement. So it's lunch hour, and I just got done measuring and laying out where a new way of doing things is going to be. So we got some corners here, and there's some corners over there. I don't know if you can see them. They're about 40 feet away. Pretty much exact. Got that one there and that one there. So here's the plan. That whole shed is just sitting there. I mean, yeah, it's got water and electric and all that. But it's more or less temporary. It's gonna still be temporary after this, it's like, gotta be within the boundaries of certain things. But the plan is to dig this out and pour a concrete pad here on the cheap, and then take that shed, disconnect all of the important bits, turn it, and then drag it over here onto this pad. It's going to be at the end there. So that end of the shed there is going to end up at the end of the pad here. Then we're going to take that coop and bring it onto the pad, open up that wall, and attach it to the shed, to the big shed, to the end of it over there. Then we're going to take that coop, because that one's got the automatic door on it already. I mean, this one has a door, but it doesn't have all the circuitry to make the door do things. We're going to take that coop and take the wall off of that, the side of the wall that we're going to join them together. I already looked at the tin on the roof. All we're going to do is just overlap the tin and then wall, like board up the gaps and everything and reinforce it so that it's good for snow load and all that stuff. And then those 2 coops will be for roosting 100%, because right now, we've got some roosting in there, but we've also got food and water. So there's floor space and ultimately ceiling space, because you can't have birds above your food and water pooping in it. So it's a very inefficient use of space overall. We can improve that by, putting up roosting bars from floor to ceiling across the entire space of the shed. It's an 8x8 shed. Same thing with this one. So we're going to join these 2 sheds, 2 coops together, join them in the big shed. And then on the wall of this one, the window's going to come off. Although most of the wood's going to come off, I got to figure out how I'm going to do the flashing up at the roof and everything to butt that up against the other shed so that it doesn't leak and all that stuff. But this wall is going to become a pass-through for nesting boxes. So we've got nesting boxes in that coop and nesting boxes in that coop. We're we're going to consolidate all of them and just make the whole wall nesting boxes. Probably from like here up, or from like here over, you know, floor to ceiling nesting boxes. Well, I mean, they can't be taller than the girlfriend. I mean, she's got to be able to reach in there and be like, take the eggs out and stuff. But the idea with that is we're also going to have a door here. We're going to have like a small man door so that you can go from the big shed right into there to do cleaning and you know, servicing and whatnot without having to actually go outside and into the other doors. Also, we're going to do our water and feed through the wall. So we'll have a bin or something out there to kind of, you know, present the feed to the chickens. And you're just going to take a scoop full of feed at a time or whatever and just pour it through the wall. So we can do everything to maintain the flock inside in that garage space of that shed. So you can kind of see how the roof line there is wavy gravy. It's because it's just sitting on the ground. So we're going to get that on a concrete pad, and hopefully that kind of settles down and behaves. And there's some concern that, you know, we finished off the egg room, we insulated it and drywalled it and put up FRP and everything. So during the move, we're going to have to try and be careful not to tweak that end of the shed. But, you know, we've already accepted that we're going to have to do some drywall work afterward, because, I mean, as you see, it's wavy gravy. So all of the lines and everything that we, you know, cut and taped and everything in there, they're probably going to crack at least. So hopefully it's not a complete disaster. And, you know, it's just, you know, some mud and sanding and painting again. So, yeah, that's the plan. Take that coop, join them together, marry that to the end of this shed, and then redo that whole wall so that we can service everything through the wall. You know, that window's gonna go, and we'll have our nesting boxes through the wall, so we don't have to like go to the front inside and you know, pull the eggs out from the front of the box. Because the other issue there with that is, you know, it's like we have the boxes on the walls and the roosting bars are above all that. So it's like as you're taking the eggs out, you're kind of, you're getting bombed from above. Let's say that. And it's not it's not love bombing. It's stinky, yucky, sometimes really runny. Yeah, not exactly the hot setup. Although sometimes it's a hot bomb. Well, I mean, they always typically are. Anyway, back to, you know, less weird and awkward stuff. So back here, the reason we're coming back here is, so we've got conduit for power, because there's actually 240 volt coming up in here for a sub panel that feeds an electric heater, like a serious electric heater that, you know, we have a stand-up 120 unit in there that, you know, will heat that thing just fine all winter long on a 120 heater. I mean, we insulated it real good. But if something happens or it blows a breaker, we have this backup on 220. Plus, I've got network equipment in there. So there's also a massive UPS on the other side of this wall powering all the network equipment. That conduit there is just carrying, you know, like fiber optic and power and some Cat 5 lines up the hill. I got some cameras there, loudspeaker, pan tilt zoom camera, and then way up in the top corner of the property there's also another large pole that I've got cameras and wireless access points and stuff on, so that when we're on the property, you know, we can stay hooked in and everything. I don't know if you can see it, but down in there is where the water comes up in, and I've got a heated hose coming up in there, and it's heated, you know, below the frost line all the way up in to where the sink is for where we wash the eggs. So there's quite a bit of stuff going on here. You know, and that all comes over yonder underneath here. It's all in conduit, and then it comes to this ground box or pull box. So Yeah, I've got there. That goes around the corner of the shed here, and that 2-inch water line go up in there because, you know, water line's over here as well. This is where the water is, and then down that pipe is a ball valve that actually shuts the shed off. And basically what I did is I took the handle on the ball valve and I stuck it up, and then I welded this piece of square tube to it. I don't know if it ain't gonna turn by hand, but you put a wrench on this and you can turn off the water. So it's like a poor man's curb stop. And then I just put the whole thing in that PVC to, you know, keep it from getting filled in with dirt and material, and, you know, rendering it ineffective. All right, so here's my thoughts on how we're gonna do this, you know, because remember, I'm a network engineer. I do cutovers all the time in live environments and blah, blah, blah. So we got to maintain our shed operation here. So my plan is to disconnect everything, get the shed all ready to move, and I have, I think, 44 feet worth of wire. I wheeled it out. So from here around to that box, I've got 44 feet. Where it's going to end up, over there, kind of where that brown chicken is, and there's no brown cow. Oh well. That's kind of where it's going to end up, over on the backside there. That pipe, that's, you know, that conduit poking up through the floor in the shed. The 44 feet ain't long enough to get there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to pay dearly for some 2-inch PVC conduit, and I'm going to tap onto that. I'm going to you know, just leave. I'm going to hack that off after I pull the cables out. Obviously, I'm going to hack that off at ground level. Just leave the stub there. Leave all that existing conduit in the ground, because I have more plans for this spot. I'm thinking ahead here. I'm going to join on the stub that's sticking down through the floor. I'm going to come under the floor, and I'm going to screw up underneath. I'm going to screw the conduit up underneath after it's on the pad so that I can get to it. Obviously, you see how the dirt's like way up to the bottom there? That's from when we shoved this thing in here. But I'm going to come around with conduit out to the front here, and then come up here in this area, right in here, with that 240 feeder, you know, for the sub panel. It's going to come around and up and in to a box, a large box here. And I'm also going to put 2-inch out of that box, and I'm going to then trench, you know, because we're looking at this side of the shed where all this stuff is. That's going to end up right about here. So the sub panel's over there. I'm going to come around with conduit under the shed to here, come up to a box, tie in here, and I'm going to trench straight across over to there, right into that pull box on the ground. And then at that point, when I refeed the 240 sub line, I should have more than enough length to come over here, this straight shot, stub up into that box, and then make correct waterproof protected connections in the box, and then come back down, around, and up. And I do have the cable to come back down, around, and up, coiled up, spare, you know, left over from the project where I ran the service into that shed. I say service, I mean sub panel, because the other thing I got going on here is this box, this circuit breaker box here. This is going, these are actually two separate 120 lines. These are two separate circuits that feed into the kitchen area and supply the kitchen and the garage side. So the way I'm going to handle those is I'm just going to run some Romex around, up, and in, and land it right there. You know, and I'll just maintain that 1.5 inch down to our big pull box. This here is data. This is Cat 5 and fiber optic in there. That other piece of conduit, that 1 inch there, goes underneath and stubs up into the garage half of this shed, because I kind of put all that network equipment in there after we put in the the kitchen. So everything was walled in. You know, all the walls and ceilings and everything were in. And, you know, it's all nicey nice in here. So I do have an access panel or an access box right there. That's the other side of that 6-inch box on the outside of the wall out there. But the problem is like I just laid in the wire and said, yeah, we're done here. I didn't put any Smurf tube or anything up and over. So that was kind of a fail on my part. Lack of foresight. Yeah. Anyway, so in here is the garage part of the shed here. And I'm not going to show you the mess of cable or anything. Don't look. You know, I got fire alarm in here, backup NAS. So, you know, the footage from our chicken operation where we actually sell the eggs and have customers coming onto the property, that gets recorded and then it gets backed up to a second NAS so that if, you know, anything were to happen, you know, where we had to, you know, get footage to, you know, help out a customer or something or whatever, you know, that's redundant. So there's a primary NAS down in my office, and then there's this backup NAS here. It's basically just free NAS and a shadow copy. There's the big ass UPS down there with all of its, knock that off, door, with all its crappy ass batteries. So this is where we kind of store our feed. We got going on here, chicken feed. Yep, got chicken feed in there. This helps keep the mice away. We have a sick bird in there and in that hutch there. It's all motion alarms and got an exhaust fan up there. So we got to figure out how to, you know, marry in that wall. And then this is a 12-foot wide shed. Those other coops are 8 feet wide, so we're gonna have 4 feet on the front here. So my plan also is to add a man door on the end of this shed and walk out to a porch that's going to be across the front of those coops. What the hell was I talking about earlier? That yeah, so that fiber optic conduit, it just stubs up through the floor right here, and so that's going to have to all be migrated. I may cheat and put all the fiber in the 2-inch that comes up out of there and out of that box in the center there. Don't pay attention to that. Don't, you know, just listen. I am the authority having ultimate jurisdiction in my shed here, so I don't want to hear nothing about any of that stuff over there. All right. Door. Well, see, that's where the shed's all wonky. It's not level, so that's why the door is like acting funny. So yeah, all this stuff, we're probably just going to move this hot. I mean, not hot, but like, I'm not going to pull all this stuff out of here. There's a lot of weight in that UPS, so hopefully it ain't going to cause a problem, but, you know, all this stuff obviously ain't moving. I mean, we may pull that rack out from the wall and saran wrap it. And then, you know, that way there's not stuff falling off of it, but you know. So anyway, I got a TV here so when the Sprout's washing eggs, she can pull up the security cameras and keep an eye on everything. Oh look, I think they're getting treats or something. So yeah, that's the big update. So we got quite a project to do here. So working out in my head, you know, the step-by-step of how we're actually going to perform the move and move the electric and water and all that stuff. So that shouldn't be a terribly complicated thing. So the big thing is going to be this concrete pad. So I have a plan for this. As when we did our roadside stand, we had the concrete truck come, and for the small little bit of concrete that we got, the price was, let's just say, ridiculous. So I have an idea in order to get concrete on the cheap. Now this is a little out there. I don't want you going getting all crazy or nothing, but so I'm gonna dig this out. I'm gonna get the laser out with the excavator because we have a drain right here. See, there's a drain. And I'm gonna dig this out and then lay down crushed stone to give the water a place to go to get back to this drain. Then, on top of that, I'm gonna put down a crap ton of crusher run. Crusher run is basically like just crushed limestone. And then I'm gonna go and buy a whole bunch of bags of Portland cement and dump that on top of the crusher run. And then I'm gonna come through with the tractor, with the big tractor with the 6-foot rototiller. And I mean, this is all gonna be formed. I mean, you know, I'm gonna have, this is gonna be dug out and have, you know, wood forms put up. It's all gonna be nicey nice, laser leveled and all that stuff. So then I'm gonna come through with the tractor and just drive over the whole thing with the tiller and till in the cement into the crusher run. And then we're gonna come back through and add water and then till in the whole ball of wax with the water, cement, and crusher run. And hopefully that's gonna make concrete. And I'm probably gonna have the mini excavator here with the grading bucket to kind of, you know, move the concrete around and, you know, kind of screed it as we go. The other thing that I've, you know, I'm thinking over in my head, it's like I can only get the tiller so far over, so when it's time to get up near the edges of the wood, somebody's probably gonna have to manually, you know, turn the unmixed material, you know, with a shovel, you know, in front of the tiller or something. Probably me doing that. I doubt the Sprout's gonna do that. Tractor has cruise control, so I can set the cruise control and get out and actually probably just do that myself. So that's the plan. It's a pretty ambitious, ridiculous project. And as you can see, the leaves are turning. It's fall time. And I need to get this done before winter. And I have projects on deck at work that I'm probably gonna have to travel for. So, yeah. It's the kind of project I love. Up against the wall and high stakes, kind of, sorta. But nobody's gonna die and nobody's gonna lose money. But that's the key thing. It's like, I'll parachute into hell as long as there's no chance that nobody's gonna get mad. I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyway, so here's our 40 foot by 12 foot, because this shed is 12 by 24. That's 8 foot, that's 8 foot. And in fact, you know what? I just realized that I did not account for the overhangs on the roof. Those sheds are actually 8 feet at the bottom, but the roof is longer. So this is probably gonna end up to like 45 feet. Good thing we talked this through. I appreciate you sticking with me through all that. Anyway, so the front edge is gonna be about here. This is at a weird angle because you'll notice way out yonder is the tripod with the transit, and I actually have a laser attached to that. I tried to use the laser to kind of figure out a line here, but long story short, you see the barn over there. The barn is kind of at a funny angle. I mean, the road goes that way and the barn's kind of like, it's turned a little to the northwest. So this line, if I got all my measurements correct, is perpendicular to the barn. You know, it's like, you know, very close to 90 degrees. Reason being, so when you look on the satellite after this is all said and done, it looks like somebody put some thought into it and tried to actually like do it correctly. So because right now all these buildings are just all at weird random angles, and you know, like nothing points in any kind of coherent direction. That was an earlier time. Now we're trying to fix things and do things more correct, more gooder. The run, we're just gonna have to accept that it is what it is. I mean, you kind of see here that the line goes like that and the run is just all wonky. Reason being, those posts are all sunk 4 feet into the ground, and that thing was a pain in the ass to build. So we're not going to demo it. We're not, you know, and I'm not going to pick it up out of the ground and try to, like, you know, drill all those holes back in perfectly, because I'll tell you what, I spent a whole week drilling all the holes for that because I was hitting nothing but boulders under there. So this whole depression in the ground here, I mean, you see all these giant rocks. That's all from when I was digging this, and I have a giant pile down there the size of your house. Yeah, your house. This whole depression in the ground here, there used to be an ancient ravine or something here long ago, and then the dairy farm up above kind of just filled it in with all these boulders as they plowed their field. So basically my property is the rock dump for the whole shebang. So it was a ginormous pain in the butt to drill all the holes. I think I got one. What the hell do I got going on here? Oh, that's right, because the way that the wire mesh lined up, I had to add 2x4s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So I had to drill 9 posts into the ground because, you know, I wanted to properly support the man door over there. And I'm not looking forward to redoing that. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to build a portal off of the, well, I mean, there's a door there. There's an automated door for the thing. We're just going to build a little tunnel to connect these. Call it a day. And if down the road, if, you know, the YouTube gods favor me and the channel blows up and I get rich, then we'll figure this out. We'll do something different, completely different. I have plans for that too. So yeah, there's conduit here at the back of this guy that feeds the cameras that are in this shed, and also there's electric coming up in there. That's all. Everything's GFCI for their water heater. That's the ducts. Yeah, that looks nasty as hell, but that's just the way ducts are. If you have ducts, you know. If you know, you know. Don't ever get ducks. They're just dirty and stupid and loud, and they poop a lot. So the idea here, remember I said this was 40 feet, so this is probably going to extend out, and I mean the other end of the thing here was right there, so by the time we extend that out, it's going to end up right there. So probably I'll just extend everything out and attach that box right to the back of the shed or the coop or whatever, and just mount it right there, because there's conduit that comes under here. It makes a 90-degree turn this way, and somewhere's in here is a box. If I can find it. I keep telling the sprout to keep this clean. You just got to take my word. There is a box under there, another pull box, and there's also another pull box over there, because I got an access point and a camera that watches that culvert over there. There's a big 24-inch culvert over there, and I want to make sure that it doesn't like plug up during a massive storm. Yeah, so conduit comes over here. Probably gonna, you know, just keep that. There's 20 amp or whatever service coming into here on its own separate circuit. You know, very similar setup to the support shed. Back there is a, you know, a little outside breaker box, so that kind of gives you your disconnect and everything all in one. That's going to be the new front. The other issue that I'm mulling over in my head here is, so the new front there over to this hill and this tree. So got that big old garage door there, and I like to just you know, fork load supplies off the back of the truck and into there, you know, like bags of feed, bedding, you know, that kind of stuff, using the tractor. It's going to be very tight in here to maneuver the tractor. It can be done. And the other thing is, the sprout would typically load up the chicken manure out of the front door there. Chicken apparently just had a moment. And now they're all going to go bonkers. Whatever. Is there like a thing flying in the sky here or something? Whatever. Stupid ass chickens. Texas Red, you want to kind of take command of the situation here and settle these girls down? That's Texas Red because he's big. He's also known as the Big Iron. Anyway, so I kind of want to dig this hill back a little bit, but the problem is I'm already starting to see the root plate of this tree, and we kind of want to keep the tree. See, there's some of the roots there. And what's going on here is the chickens come in here and they like to dig this up and take dust baths in it. So they're kind of slowly excavating this hill out. So I want to try and push this back in a little further, but not kill the tree. So I'm going to probably scratch away at this very gingerly with the excavator and go as far as I can go. And then it is what it is at that point. The other thing is this light pole is going to have to come out, which is no big deal. I'll just dead end the circuit on that pole over there and then just kind of cap these off and then maybe put some sort of little ground box or something in there, or just cap them off down low and then put a concrete paver over top of them and then, you know, put dirt on top of that. And at least that way, you know, and then take measurements to kind of, you know, eyeball where it is, and so that you can find it later on. And then just take the whole pole out and move it, and you know, that way you're not having to like worry about that. Texas Red, what the hell are you doing? Sitting down on the job. And then there's this guy, I don't know. See, some of these don't have tail feathers because they pecked them out. I mean, obviously Texas Red's the biggest one here. And I don't know. They're having some kind of conversation. But, you know, the roosters kind of established how things are. So, anyway. Yeah, so gonna make a big concrete pad here. Gonna drag that shed over on top of it. We're gonna kind of cannibalize these two other coops and join them to the shed. Make one big long chicken operation that's all self-contained. You don't have to go outside for anything in the winter. And we'll do the through the wall nesting boxes so that the whole process is cleaner, more efficient, and better, because we're striving for better nowadays. Oh, and remember how I said I have plans for that area? Because I got water and conduit already over there. So once that shed and all this stuff is over here and all happy, we're gonna put a greenhouse over there, because it'll have electric and water. And I'll probably get, you know, like a greenhouse that will kind of fit the same footprint as that shed. And then probably have the Amish build me another little, like a 10 by 10 or a 12 by 12 or something to hang off the end of it to create a processing room for vegetables and our produce. And then also to put a small wood stove in there to actually heat the whole works. And I may actually pour a concrete floor with that and put PEX pipe in it to do a hot water circuit through the wood stove, so that we can cogen off of that and kind of heat the ground and heat the dirt, and then, you know, extend the growing season, so to speak, you know, through the you know, late spring, early fall type thing. How effective that's gonna be, I don't know, because, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you can kind of tell when the magnetic field of your climate kind of starts moving and all the trees start turning, and the plants and everything else kind of go bleh. So I think it's got less to do with the amount of sunlight and heat you're getting, and more to do with just natural forces and, you know, electric fields that kind of signal the plant that your time is up. So, yeah. I rambled quite a bit, but that's how it goes sometimes, you know. Big project, and we'll get going on it as soon as we can here, and then I'm going to give you some updates right along. I've also got some other, you know, tech related stuff that's been going on, mainly motion sensors. So I'm going to do a video on those outdoor PoE motion sensors, because we had some visitors come to the tech stead here that were just kind of sketchy. You know, there's an acceptable, proper way to step onto someone's property when you are quote unquote looking to purchase something. And then there's oh, nobody's around? Okay, let's get out and start exploiting things and wandering around and taking inventory kind of vibe. And it was the latter of the two. So, yeah, so I've been hanging out motion sensors that are PoE powered, and they integrate into Home Assistant. And the plan with that is to actually create an interactive map so that when the motion sensor gets tripped, it kind of flashes an area on the map of like where that activity is taking place. Kind of like, if you remember Jurassic Park, you remember when all the fences shut off and all those little grids started lighting up on the map. It's going to be kind of like that. That's the easiest way to explain that. So yeah, I've got a lot of irons in the fire. But you'll have that when you're a techsmith or a blacksmith or whatever. Anywho, that's it for now. I rambled long enough, and gotta get back to work. So have a good one.